The global population has now reached an estimated 8 billion people. This is according to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs in its latest World Population Prospects released to mark this year's World Population Day. And here in Nigeria, there is a projected 216 million people. It is therefore home to around 2.7% of the world's population. Interestingly, 2023 is the scheduled date for Nigeria's National Population Census, the first since 2006. On Daily Politics tonight, we'll be speaking with the Census Manager of the National Population Commission, Inuwa Jalingo, as we discuss issues relating to the Nigeria's population and how it affects its growth and development. Welcome to the program, sir.
A pleasure to be here.
Congratulations for
Thank you very much.
the event of marking 8 billion population. Yeah. Yes, is it really congratulations or it's actually a somber period?
No, I would not call it a somber period. The United Nations Population Fund once said that population is not about numbers, but about the quality and life of the people. So it is, whichever way you take it, it can be a burden and it can be an asset. So depending on how best and how well it is managed.
Yeah, well, while marking the anniversary, if you Google and then the commentaries all over, you know, people are really not happy. I don't really understand why people are not happy, because if somebody's wife put to bed, you see celebration. But now at the larger scale, some people are lamenting, especially policymakers.
Yeah, the whole thing is about global challenges, global space, and when you look at it, the momentum of the population is growing very fast, and it's a thing for concern. Even if you apply it locally to our Nigerian needs, you have a lot of challenges because of the momentum of the population. In the past, you don't have cattle rearers, farmers clashes, as we're experiencing today. Yes. And you can't separate these issues with the population momentum. Before, there was so much space for some few people to do, and so the cattle rearers and also the farmers are able to cohabit. But now that there is growth in population, more people want to farm. I'm just giving you a simple example.
Yeah, very simple.
So more people want to farm. So the land space is becoming too tight and all these things. And so this crisis exists. So population is something that needs to be looked at holistically at any point in time. Like I have said, it can be an asset and a liability. It depends on how best and how well you manage your population.
Yes. So at the global scale, before we come back home, what are the issues that dominate, especially this year's population anniversary, that the world clocked 8 billion?
Yeah, the issues generally are that, okay, we're 8 billion. It comes with also needs. The needs to give appropriate health care for the 8 billion. The need to provide shelter in terms of housing for the 8 billion. The need to provide water and electricity for the 8 billion. And the need for space to habitate. And also the issue of climate change.
Yes, global warming.
Population is, and you can witness what we witnessed this year in terms of floods and in terms of all this, a part of all the climate change that we're experiencing. So all these needs has to be of concern. So it means that policymakers have to up their game to ensure that there is more food on the table for the population, and to also ensure that people get shelter, and to also meet up with the infrastructural needs in terms of education, in terms of shelter, in terms of health. So all these basic needs are concerns of every policymaker to ensure that the people get it and get it right.
Okay, now country specific, maybe coming back to Africa, at what level will you say that a country is overpopulated? So,
like I have said, if you look at Africa, for example, and you want to position Africa, you find out that Nigerian TFR is about 5.2.
Okay.
As against that of Niger, 6.7, and countries like Somalia have 5.5. Apart from this,
per hectare, you're talking about?
No. It's fertility rate. It's the measure of how the population is growing.
Okay.
So that is the average number a woman is likely to have, children she's likely to have if she lives a normal reproductive life period. Okay. So we find out that in Nigeria is among the countries that have high TFR of about 5.2.
Okay.
We are only higher than, probably lower than Niger, Congo Republic, and countries like Somalia and so on. But you find out that countries like Ghana, their TFR is just about 3.7. And some other African countries like South Africa have far, far lower TFRs. So that is at the continental level. And if you look at even globally, if you can look at Indonesia, their TFR is about 2.2. They are one of the highest population countries.
Yes.
And if you look at Pakistan, it's about 3.3. And even in India, that has this, is about 2.2. So all these countries, because of their high population, they have tried to create a balance so that their growth rate will not increase as it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's a projection that by 2050, Nigerian population will be higher than America. And if you look at the land space of the United States of America and the land space of Nigeria, you find out that Texas alone can be the size of Nigeria. So these are all the possible scenarios if you are looking at population and development you have to put into perspective.
And are there some countries that actually are proud of their numbers? That, okay, we are fine, let's continue producing because we have all the necessities to take care of them.
Yeah, for most of the Western countries, UK, France, the USA, and all these, they have seen the growth and they have tried to control a major and ensure that they don't grow beyond replacement level. That is a husband and wife producing two. Okay. So most of their TFR are two. But you find out that all countries are trying to stabilize and sort of grow in a manageable manner so that they don't overweight their other economic indices as they are considering. So all countries are trying to move to a manageable population size so that their resources and their population can match one another.
Yes, jokingly yesterday in the newsroom, you know, when they said, okay, the gavel, 8 billion, we were laughing, okay, who counted this? So what are the parameters?
Just like you have said, Nigerian population is 216 million.
Yes.
You have not conducted a census. The parameters are, you have to look at your fertility rate, which I have said is one of the key parameters. Then you have to look at your mortality rates and your migration indicators. So these are the basic parameters that shows your growth. So the TFR, is higher if it is higher than the mortality rate, and also if the people coming into a country or into the geographical space you are higher or lower. All these things are basic indicators that we use to project the population. And you can see that Nigerian projection is based on the 2006 population and housing census.
It's many decades
which is almost obsolete. So, but basically, what is done is all these demographic parameters are used to estimate the world's population. But you can agree with me, most countries have been having stable headcount, some 5 years, some 10 years over the period. So, and over hundreds of years, like India, like America. So they can tell you at any point in time, this is the population.
With precision.
With precision, with almost precision. So it is only few countries like us that our census are not regular, that probably we cannot say, okay, the projections are not reliable. So what the UN is able to project is based on scientific models and all this and all that. And you find out that projection is almost going to be, at least with some degree of confidence, accurate.
Okay. Now the size of the world population, the increase, is it improvement in health that led to the massive increase? Because somebody was citing like 200 years ago, the world population was, is it 1 billion or thereabout?
Yeah, you know, one thing is that it's part of the demographic transition. Okay. You understand there was a time whereby you record more deaths because our health infrastructure are not good and all this and all that. So, and you record more deaths and more births.
Yes.
But now there is stability in terms of deaths. you find that children are able to live up to their normal years.
Because they get the immunization.
The life expectancy globally has increased. Some countries have life expectancy about 80, 90, or so on and 70.
Yeah.
So you find that people are able now to live longer because of improved healthcare facilities and also improved conditions of living generally, and the standard of living has improved over the years. So with that, people are able to live longer. So the number of deaths have also reduced. The mortality rates have reduced. So definitely there's going to be a natural increase in the population.
Yeah.
And that is what we are experiencing. And that is why the population is growing now
rapidly.
rapidly.
Mr. Jalungo, you know, there is sometimes people describe it as a contradiction between prosperity and fertility.
Yeah.
You know, that you see the population higher in poor countries, and some now, you know, attribute ability to reproduce to wealth, you know, to health and all that. So how do we now actually distinguish this?
Thank you very much. My PhD thesis is on fertility.
Okay.
And I have really dipped into these issues.
Okay.
And you find out that even in Nigeria, there is disparity between the north and the south.
Yes.
In terms of the fertility rates.
Okay.
The northwest and northeast are having about 7.5, 7.7 in terms of TFR, while the
That's
south,
the ability to produce, as you said
the number
earlier,
of children,
the number of children,
average
yes.
number of children that the woman
So a
will
woman
give
in the northeast
is
or northeast
likely
can
to have
produce
7 to 8 children.
Okay.
While unlike in the southwest and the southeast, it's about 4. So you find out that it's even locally, you find out that it's 2 contexts. And again, one thing that will surprise you, you realize, as you have said, population among the TFR, among the people that are wealthy, is lower than those among the poor people.
Yes.
So there's a lot of factors, and you find out that in some communities, this kinship, the ability to have people to go to the farm, there are a lot of other factors that are being considered for children in some communities.
Yeah, somebody will have 3 wives, 4, so he ends up producing 40, 50
children. So all these ones are sociocultural factors that we need to understand. Everything about population, every time we tell person is this: make sure that you are able to cater for the people that you are bringing on board.
Yeah.
Is that clear? And you have to, you need to provide them with shelter. You need to provide them with education. You need to provide them with nutrition, and you need to provide them with health.
Yeah.
So these are basic requirements.
Yeah.
You understand? So the whole thing is that bring up people that you'll be able to provide them with all these basic necessities of life.
Yeah.
And that is the most important
But there is this claim, especially in northern Nigeria, where people don't want to talk about that. If you are destined to produce 40, you must produce 40 before you die.
Yeah, all these ones, they are sociocultural issues. They are sociocultural issues. Nobody would like to bring a child if he's in his right thinking sense, and the child will turn out to be an almajiri on the street. The child does not go to school. The child is not well fed. The child does not have a shelter on his head. And this, we are in this studio today because by the grace of God, we had the privilege to go to school. We had the privilege to have shelter. We are fed. So, and that is very important.
And people must understand
And people must understand these basic things. And if you are able to provide these basic things, nobody will come and restrict you. But the provision of these basic things, even before you are got, they are very basic necessities that you have to do.
Okay. Now back to the serious issue, because we are approaching another round of census in Nigeria. But why this too long? Since 2006. There was no census in Nigeria.
Ideally, UN recommended that population census should be conducted either in 5 years or 10 years interval. And most countries have adopted conducting census in every 10 years. In Africa here, you can Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, in fact, those every 5 years. Okay. If you look at globally, the United States of America, every 10 years and consistent for over hundreds of years. India for over hundreds of years, consistently taking censuses in
every decade.
Every decade without postponement. So the problem in Nigeria, one, is that the legal framework establishing the National Population Commission, the organization that is mandated to conduct the census, does not make provision for that. And that is what the commission, under the leadership of Honorable Nasir Isakwara, is trying to amend.
Okay.
So the issue of census is a very expensive endeavor, and it's something that mobilizes all the population. So, and the commission has been advocating, we've been preparing for this census since we thought we could hold it in 2006. But a lot of dynamics happened. One was lack of funding.
After 2006, 2016 then?
2016.
Yes.
So funding was a major issue, not until the coming of the present government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Okay.
He gave the commission the required impetus, that is to do the enumeration area demarcation, which is the bedrock for the head count. And I can tell you...
And what does that entail?
That entails
for our
demarcating every piece of land of Nigeria, carving it out into what we call enumeration areas, so that enumerators can use to handle for census and surveys of the country.
Okay.
So every part of Nigeria will be demarcated into pieces, whereby this is a
document of
yeah. So, and it is on the basis of that you plan for the census, or you plan for any survey. It is on the basis of that you mobilize resources, mobilize materials, and all this for the conduct of headcount, ensuring that everybody that is staying within the boundaries of Nigeria is counted for the census. And for surveys, national or state or any kind of survey, is the same frame that is used to do. So without that, there is no census, there's not going to be any surveys. So, and we've been given that impetus by the grace of God. We have by today finished about 773 of the 774 local government areas.
Just maybe few.
Yeah, it's only Abadan in Borno State. And
okay, yeah, which is in the farthermost northern part of
So we are almost getting clearance to go into Abadan to conduct the demarcation. I will tell you that we have already completed the demarcation. So as far as the census is concerned, government again in 2022 provided the National Population Commission at least the required resources to continue with the planned activities. We have done the first pretest, the second pretest, we have done the trial census. So we are ready to go to conduct the census in 2023 by the grace of God. Just last month, and specifically on the 30th, we have launched the e-recruitment portal. As of today, Nigerians have started applying for the census exercise.
You're going to recruit is 1 million or
1.5 million.
1.5 million.
We expect that 1.5 million Nigerians will apply, will be recruited. As of today, before I came to the studio, looking at the dashboard, about 526 Nigerians have applied for the different positions in the census.
Yeah.
We have started training principal trainers for the census and master trainers, so that they can now be the one to train the whole facilitators across the states. We have started with online training on those aspects. Okay. So we are working 24 hours to ensure that...
Yes, you mentioned you covered almost 99.9% of the local government areas in Nigeria. How did you achieve that? Because I know, how did you manage to go to, let's say, Birnin Gwari? How did you manage to go to let's say maybe Malam Fatori? That's Abadan, right?
Yeah.
That is where you are trying to go.
Yeah.
But how did you go to maybe other local government deep in Borno, to do the enumeration?
Yeah, you have to network. Where you have challenges, you have to network with security agencies to ensure that yes, you can go to these areas, and that delayed us from going to Abadan. And that is what delayed us from going to
like Kala Baligi, maybe
Birnin Gwari also. But with the security clearance, and we are working in conjunction with all the security agencies, and census is more like a civil operation. Yes, there are security challenges, but just recently we have conducted the trial census, and we have gone to 6 local government areas where we did 100% coverage.
In which states?
In about 6 states, in one part geopolitical zone. Yeah.
The local
we went to Bras in Bayelsa State. We went to Imeko Afon in Ogun State. We went to Daura in Katsina State from the southwest. In the northeast, we went to Tongo,
Okay,
in
that's in Adamawa,
State.
yes.
In the north central, we did Karu, which is one of the biggest local government areas in Nigeria, in Nasarawa State. And we went to, I have mentioned southeast. We went to Edimili South. And we covered end to end. That is from the first EA to the last EA.
Meaning all the houses there.
All the houses,
and
all
the occupants.
people, all the occupants, everybody that was there within the period of time was enumerated. So this is, apart from that, we have done 3 supervisory areas in the remaining senatorial district across the country.
Okay, good. Now, I know that in one of our stories in the Daily Trust, there was an attack on census officials doing enumeration in Benue State. It keeps occurring to you. I had to even call our reporter and said, why? And then I think she explained that some people, they were thinking that you are doing boundary demarcation. And therefore, there was this problem between communities over a certain area. So they thought your people were there to take this portion and then maybe give these people. How are you managing some of these issues?
No, there are areas we know in this country that you have boundary issues. All we tell them is that, look, we are only going to create enumeration areas for the census exercise. Where there are boundary challenges is not under our prerogative to resolve. The Boundary Commission, a government agency saddled with the responsibility of doing that, should be able to resolve that with the community. Ours is that we are going to count every Nigerian wherever we find him during the census period. And it's left for the Boundary Commission to tell us, okay, put this population in this local government area, put it in this locality or wherever. So we all want Nigerians that the National Population Commission is not conducting a boundary demarcation. We are doing enumeration of the people and the characteristics of the people and their households. So our principal objective is to do the census work, and we are coming out with robust advocacy and publicity and public awareness to tell Nigerians our duties and responsibilities. And wherever those conflicts are, since 2006 census, there's an area in Takum local government area between Takum and
Taraba.
And one other local government near it. They have been in conflict. We call it no man's land. That is how we carve it out, and we enumerated the population. So those areas, whenever the conflict is resolved among communities, then we can put the population where there was a directive that it should be. So as much as possible, we do our work, and we are aware of the challenges here and there, and we navigate through those challenges by educating the people on what we are expected to do and what we are going to do.
Okay, beyond the numbers, I received a text message yesterday. Somebody said, okay, beyond the numbers, what is the meaning of census? Why must we have census? Somebody, and it's a very...
So beyond the numbers, how do you plan for your family? I will throw back at you.
Yes, as how? Because this is a question I received yesterday, and I was eager to have you because we're planning for this.
So I'm happy I will provide an answer to you.
Good, beyond the numbers. Because he said beyond the numbers. You people want to spend billions of naira to count Nigerians. What is the essence?
Let me tell you, those numbers are the key to our development prospects. And they are the key to resolving our development challenges. Is that clear? Just a simple layman's, every time I have the opportunity, I give you a simple layman's knowledge. As a husband or a family head of household, you are 5 in the family. You give your wife, before going out, you give your wife 10,000 naira plan for the household. As the head of household, you have colleagues or friends, you took about 10 of them to the house. And probably madam have prepared food for 5 people. Didn't you distort her budget?
Extremely.
So you find out that now, look at the government intervention project this government has done. Several interventions projects have been done. But you feel that something, a drop in the ocean.
Yes.
Is that clear?
It is not really trickling down.
It's not trickling down, because the whole issue, you can understand as a demographer, I know that you don't understand the population is more than what you expect. So when you plan without data, you are going to plan to fail. So you find out that everything that you are going to do for a country, for a local government, for a state, you need data to plan. And some states, like Kaduna State, have started implementing that. And they are doing something, whatever they are doing it based on focus, based on informed decision. So if you are providing health to your people, you need to know the number of people you are providing these health facilities.
Apart from, for instance, is this JIB?
Yeah.
You know if you are to cite health facility.
Yeah. And even the health facility, what is the population structure? How many people are young people? The healthcare need of 0 to 5 is different from 6 to 15.
Okay.
The healthcare need of the elderly, people that are 70 to 80, is different from the healthcare need of people that are 20 to 40. So all the health structure is even important, not only the numbers, but even the age structure. So if you are planning for education, you need to know how many people are of school-going age, how many people are going to migrate to school.
So instead of having 10 primary schools, probably that community requires
only
2 or 3.
Or you don't need a secondary school. Or you don't need a university. So all these things are supposed to be planned. And you are supposed to plan based on the numbers. You know? So everything you do, either as government, either as a private investor or businessman, you need those numbers. And that is the kind of numbers we want to give Nigerians, whereby at a micro level, as a broadcasting station, you want to know how many people are listening to you.
Yeah, we take that figure.
You want to know, where are you listening to more? Are you listening to more in Kano? Are you listening to more in Karu or whatever? You want to know what is the type, which type of people are listening to you. Is that clear? So that you can reach the people, your audience, and wherever you have weakness, you can improve. All these you need data to do. So the kind of data we are trying to provide for the nation, and it's not only population, even about the population, but about the house, the type of houses they live, about the quality of life they live. So about even the challenges they face, even the fertility, even the mortality. So all this, the 2023 census is going to provide all this data for Nigerians at every level, being it government, being it private sector, being it whatever you want to do, you should have this data as a resource so that you can plan for what you are going to do at the end of the day for national development. And again, we are forgetting that Nigeria is a very great nation. It's a giant of Africa, they call us. Is that clear?
People are questioning that.
So we are signatories to the United Nations, and we need to provide indicators for the Sustainable Development Goals. Under the 2063 African Agenda, we are supposed to provide data to see how are we being benchmarked on these all indicators in ECOWAS. We are signatories to some development indicators that the ECOWAS countries have said so. Even locally, if you look at our Economic Recovery Growth Plan, all these are things that require data to plan. Like now, we're expecting a new government to come in 2023, in May. If they come in and we're able to do the census, we'll be able to benchmark the progress of the country or the government based on informed decision, informed of the data. What is the quality of the life of the people when they took over? What is the health situation? So all this data is very important. And that is the yardstick for measuring success or otherwise. So that is why you say without data, you are just groping in the dark.
Yes, finally, before we go on break, now while taking the enumeration, where you have these issues, are you now going to declare them as no man's land, no man's land, no man's land? Because we have these border issues all over the country.
No, we don't. We are not going to declare it as no man's land.
Okay.
Our goal and target is to ensure that every Nigerian or every person living in Nigerian territory within the census period is counted once and in the right place. Is that clear? That's where you live.
Okay.
So then if there are issues of boundary or whatever issues, then we move to boundary commission. We have these issues between this community and this. Even now we have those, where those are, we document them. But we have demarcated those areas. So it is left for that to be decided upon. Is that clear? And if we are giving, okay, this one should be part of this state, should be part of this local government area, and sometimes it's even between within a local government is between one village and the other.
Yes.
So these things are varied. So once we are told that, okay, we have resolved this population is for this, we put it.
All right.
But otherwise, we are not losing out anything. We have counted every Nigerian, wherever he is, and we have the population of Nigeria. So those areas where there is adjudication or something of that nature, we leave it. We put the population, but we leave it there in the database and
for other stakeholders to handle.
So
Thank you very much, Mr. Jalingo. We'll take a short break, and when we return, I will ask you the political aspect of population. Viewers, please don't go away. Stay with us. We will continue the discussion when we return. Thank you. Yes, welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and you can follow the conversation on our various social platforms on Facebook, and you can follow live on YouTube. We have the manager here, Census Manager of the National Population Commission, Inua Jalingo. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you explained the economic aspects of population, why we need it in order to plan well and to get basics to the population. But there is this allegation that beyond what you mentioned earlier, that there was no legal framework, and that was why the population was, they kept pushing it. That the political aspect is actually the real issue, that political leaders, they don't want to say maybe North is higher in population than South, or South is more in population than North. How true is this?
No, the population, as far as we are concerned, and as far as what we are planning to do, we are not interested in who is greater. All we are interested is to make sure that every Nigerian is counted once and in the right place. And the dynamics, you have many people that are from Southeast and are living in Lagos.
You will count them in Lagos?
We'll count them in Lagos. You have so many people living from the Southeast are in Kano.
You count them in Kano?
We count them in Kano.
And they become part of Kano population?
It becomes, we want people to be counted where they are, where they normally live their daily lives. Because if those areas are going to plan, they are going to plan for the people. So it is not about where you come from, but most importantly about where you are. Basically, where do you usually reside? Is that clear? So where you usually reside. Should there be any need for us to know whether you have migrated from a place or not? There are questions in the census questionnaire, but we want everybody to be where he is usually resident, so that we can count him, so that wherever he's staying can be able to plan with him and plan for the family and everybody. So it is only in Nigeria sometimes we look at this population issues.
Because
try
up
to,
till now people are hammering on this, that it's actually for political expediency that you want to do the census.
That is why the President Muhammadu Buhari, in his own wisdom, the dates we went to the National Council of State for the census was to conduct them this year. But the presidency, to insulate the census from politics, decided that census will be conducted after all the political activities have been done. If you look at, we did the trial census before the primaries of the various political parties. And now we are not going to do the census until all the political activities have been completed, including the presidential election. All this the government did in its own wisdom to insulate this census so that we can get it right, so that we cannot politicize it, and so that we can get it right. Nigeria, as a committee of nations, needs to know its numbers and the type of the population structure, and so that we can have data, information for our national planning and development.
Yes, I had it in one conversation that I will not call name of the president or military or whatever, that at the verge of conducting the census, he said, no, there is second term, so we cannot do it. Let's win the election before we do it. Are these some of the factors that you people have been encountering while planning for this census all these years? That, okay, a leader will say, no, let's wait after the election. No, and then after winning, we still have election. Let's do it and leave the liability to another government.
If you look at the dynamics
Yes.
of the country, if you look at the dynamics of the country, you find out that from 2016,
Yes.
even the economic is not good. And this president came in and he's doing something for Nigerians that you can hardly see anybody doing it.
What is that?
He is committing his time and the national resources under his guidance to see that Nigerian gets a census data for planning. Even though he's aware he's going, but he still feels that this data for national planning is important for the country to move forward.
But some people feel like he should have done it during his first term.
And that is why I am trying to explain to you that he is doing it out of his own conviction, because of his usual person of making sure that whatever he feels doing that is right, he will do it. And he feels that getting a very reliable and accurate data for Nigeria is something that is worth doing. And we all call it, this is going to be one of his major legacy that is going to leave for Nigeria. Because census undertaking is by no means a small exercise. It needs a courageous leader and a leader that is committed to national development and planning.
Then this question that what are the parameters? Because people are saying in that form, you need to put your religion, very highly sensitive issues. Is it true?
Yeah, we have Nigerian. What we are trying to do is there's no question on religion as far as the census question is concerned.
Okay.
And we have educated a lot of people, but you know sometimes people just jump in the media, either social media, you know, and you know that there are a lot of videos. Sometimes we find out that a respected person coming out to say things that are not true.
Yeah.
We have led the census questionnaire at the national level under the watch of the president.
Yeah.
We have led the questionnaires at the state level in the 36 states and the federal capital for all the state governors and everybody to look at the content of the census questionnaire.
Yeah.
And there is no religion, there is no ethnicity in the census questionnaire.
You will not take that.
There is not, as far as 2023 census is concerned, these are not questions that are going to be canvassed. And that has been finalized.
Yes, and then when did the government launch the National Population Policy, right? Which has provision to see fertility rate reduced to below 3% while encouraging family planning. These are some sensitive areas, especially, you know, in this part of the country. When you talk about family planning, a certain cleric will say, okay, you have even leave your religion or things like that. How are you trying to approach this and to tell people that you are not actually taking their numbers in order to use other methods to deplete the number in the future?
Yeah, as you are aware, every religion preach the fact that you should take care of the children that you are going to give birth. As a father, as a head of household, it is prerogative on you to take care, and I have said it in my earlier discussions, provide shelter, provide nutrition, provide education. Is that clear?
Yes.
And shelter, education, nutrition,
the basics,
and psychosocial.
Yes.
Is that clear? So you need to provide all these things.
Yeah.
So if you are able to do it with the family size you have, good and enough. If you are not able to do it, no religion will preach that you should throw your children on the street.
Yes.
No religion. So everything is for us to look inwardly ourselves and say, are we doing as a father, as a mother, as everything, are we doing what we are supposed to do to the children we have brought? So basically, if you can answer those questions, I think nobody needs to tell you what to do.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
So it is for you to decide on what is right.
Yeah.
And the population policy is trying to tell you, okay, These are the basic things that you need to do. And if you cannot do it naturally, you know that you too have to take it slowly.
Yes.
Is that clear? Nobody needs to tell you that. You have to take it slowly. So that is what we are telling every person, and that is what every religion have even preached.
Have you contacted religious and traditional rulers to tell people, because there is this myth that even if you allow your family to be counted, 1 or 2 of them will die after counting and all that.
Yeah, I know. These are very, very old myths. I cannot rule them happening in some societies.
Yes.
But we are developing a strategic plan to ensure that Nigerians are reached with messages. As I'm talking to you, we are in collaboration with United Nations Population Fund. We are conducting a survey to get out the perception of people about census.
Yes.
And about the type of questions that we ask in the census. And all this is to get knowledge.
Because somebody, by mere asking him how many children you have, he will
by the time
rise and move on.
Sometimes we hear this, but I've been privileged. I have worked across the country. I've worked in the 36 states and FCT.
Okay.
I have traveled to all the areas. All these myths have changed over time.
Okay.
We are not ruling out Nigeria is a very big and complex country. I'm not ruling out that there may be pockets of these issues here and there.
Resistance.
We are coming with a strategic plan to address all these issues, to educate the Nigerian population on the need to be counted once and in the right place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this issue of conducting the census in between, transition period. Election has been conducted, then about handing over, right?
Yeah.
You want to do it within that time. How feasible is it? Have you conducted research, maybe with security agencies, with politicians, with communities, and they convince you that actually that time is safe to conduct the census?
Yeah, by the grace of God, we have not been working alone. And if you see our chairman, Honorable Nasri Isakwara, has done a lot of legwork. He has virtually held meetings with virtually all the security arms in this country. And a lot of consultations have been going on. We have consulted virtually all the former presidents of this country that are living. And at the state level, the commissioners are doing various types of consultations with traditional rulers, other stakeholders, to ensure that, and from all these consultations we have had, even among prominent leaders in this country, we have visited them, we have seek for their collaboration and support towards the census. And we have received remarkably positive response from all of them, I can tell you.
Okay.
And these are all documented evidences. There are videos, all these things are published in our in many of the documents, and also the media have also covered all of them. So it's part of the advocacy. Census is a gigantic an assignment.
Yes, gigantic. And there is this claim that many agencies, government agencies, are working at cross purposes.
As I'm talking to you today, we are working closely with NOAA.
Okay, National Orientation Agency.
They are the main government agency that is responsible for national orientation and mobilization of the populace.
Okay.
We have, at the national level, we have conducted some roadshows, and we are doing it at the same state level.
That is sensitization. What about sharing information and data, like NBS, like National Identity Management? Are you in any way in touch with them?
I'm a board member of NIMSI. Today I have attended a board meeting of NIMSI. That is to show you the level of collaboration.
Okay.
I represent the commission in the board of NIMSI. And we are working closely with National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay.
And we are working closely. Presently, we are looking for about 50,000 workforce from government ministries, parastatals, and agencies.
Yes.
Like, we believe that this census is for all Nigerians, and all government agencies and parastatals are going to take lead in the conduct of the census. It's a national project. The National Population Commission is the implementing agency. So we are collaborating with all relevant government agencies, even including the National Commission for People Living with Disabilities. So it is an inclusive census. It is a census that we have this thing that leave no one behind in the implementation. Because we want to get it right and also make it credible and acceptable and reliable. part of the goals of census is to make it acceptable.
Yeah.
And you cannot make it acceptable until you do a transparent census,
Yes.
whereby you allow every person to participate to see what you are doing.
Yeah.
So
and
that-
it appears if it is not conducted now, maybe a whole generation in the NPC, National Population Commission, they will retire
And that's
without conducting one census,
Census.
even though they were recruited, right?
Yeah.
To do this.
We are the last generation of staff
Wow.
that if we don't conduct it, then at least,
From the point of entry.
yeah, we have conducted 2 censuses, 1991,
Okay.
2006.
Yeah.
And for most of us, if by the grace of God we conduct this census next year, it will be our last census because we'll have either fulfilled the 35 years in service
Yeah.
or the 60 years mandatory retirement age.
Yes.
Some of our colleagues have moved, but this census that we are conducting a digital census, is far, far, far different from the traditional census.
Yes, you
It
call
has,
it digital and paperless.
Yeah.
Meaning that we will not see these people you are going to recruit carrying papers around?
This is the only thing that every enumerator will carry, a tablet.
All of them?
All of them, this is what they are going to carry. So, and everything, the map you are going to receive to work, the enumeration area, if you receive, you can fetch your enumeration area on this tablet. And if your EA is in Katsina or Daura, the tablet can lead you to that enumeration area to work without asking any question.
But is that why you earmark 532 billion? Because people are saying this figure is scandalous, going by the limited resources at the disposal of government.
Nigeria presently is the country that is paying least in terms of remuneration for its functionaries. South Africa, we were there to witness their census. The least they paid to one enumerator is $1,000. So by the time you take $1,000, is that clear?
Yes.
And compare with what we are paying, and also compare the statistics with about 1.7 million people that are going to work for the census, you find out that it's no means a small exercise. Data collection is expensive. And one parameter that we use to judge whether your census budget is high or not, what is the average amount of money to count every Nigerian? It's $5.
The average? The average. To count every Nigerian.
And international standard.
Are you giving him a percentage of it?
No, international standard, that is the least amount you can use to enumerate one person.
Looking at the logistics and all that.
Looking at the logistics is a massive deployment of human, material, and everything that you are talking about. So census, even an ordinary survey, is not a small thing. It's not a small endeavor. So the number of functionaries, you need to train them, physical training, we are doing online training, we are doing physical training. You need to mobilize them to the field, you need to pay them for training, you need to pay them for field work, you need to pay their teachers. So it's a massive exercise.
Yeah.
You don't even need to look at it. When you tell somebody, a census practitioner, how much you are spending, you will use your average population size is 216 million, you can, and divide by the amount, and you see what you get.
Maybe it will be less than the global standard.
It like that.
But there is allegation that you people
standard.
are actually using the money for less important issues rather than the main. Just last week, the House of Reps queried NPC for spending 1.9 billion on presidential summit.
No. I think the information, I was at that sitting.
Okay.
And it did not query. It only stated that. But you know, when a statement is made, you have the right to provide an answer.
Yeah, they said you should go back and provide details.
And answers are provided.
Okay.
And I don't think that is an issue.
Okay.
So, and whatever we are doing it judiciously and making sure that the work is done.
Okay.
And I can tell you, even the enumeration area demarcation that we have achieved, and if it's by no means a small tax and a small assignment.
No, they specifically mentioned the 1.9 billion on summits in villa and conferences organized across the country.
No.
Okay.
No. That has been clarified with the House.
Okay, okay. It is far below
that. Yes.
So what assurance in a minute you have for Nigerians that this census will hold, and at the end of it, a certain part of the country will not say that the other part of the country also counted goats, sheep, and camel?
This census we are doing is a verifiable census. We have enumeration dashboards to ensure that every Nigerian is counted where he lives, and we have geo codes of where he lives. So, and we have 5-tier quality strategy to ensure that every Nigerian is counted once in the right place.
So you believe there will be no riot at the end of it? No section will say that we have been shortchanged?
We are going to conduct a transparent, verifiable, reliable, and acceptable census.
Thank you very much, Inua Jalungo, Census Manager, National Population Commission, for coming to the program. From all what you say, it appears you have your fingertips on all the figures and the specifics. And Nigerians, I'm sure, will be convinced by what you say, and they will turn out for the program.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. Well, viewers, this is how far we can go with this interesting edition of the program, where we discuss census planning in Nigeria ahead of the actual program coming up next year, and as the world clocks 8 billion. We hope you enjoyed the program and you will remain with us for another edition. Thank you for now. I am Hamza Idris.